Okay, so in this video I will show you how to transfer your final pie slice to your illustration board. So again, the illustration board is a nice thick piece of board to work on. It will hold up really well to the color pencils. So the first thing that we want to do is find the center point of this, okay? I have a 24-inch ruler here. I'm not sure if you guys have anything like that available to you. If you have anything that is long and straight, like a piece of wood, like a scrap of molding or something like that, you can use that because we don't really need to measure. So the best way to find the center point of a square is to just draw two diagonal lines from corner to corner, okay? If you don't have something long, I'll show you what to do next. Now I want you guys to pay attention. I'm drawing really lightly because I don't want this line to stay, okay? This line has to be really light. You want a really nice sharp pencil here. I'm gonna line my ruler up to my corners here and light pressure, and here is my center point, okay? I'll darken that a little bit so you guys can see in the video. Now, if you don't have a big ruler, maybe you just have a regular ruler, this board is about 15 inches, okay? So if you take a 12-inch ruler, what's half of 15? That would put you at 7.5, right? So if I just take my small ruler and from the edge of one side, make a mark at 7.5, and then go up here and make a mark at 7.5, and then I can connect those two marks with my ruler. There's that. It doesn't quite line up with my original point, but that's okay because I'm going to show you what to do. So now from here, from the bottom, I'll go also 7.5. And that is your center point if you're going to measure. Okay, so if you only have a 12-inch ruler, that's the way to do it. If you have something long enough to connect the two corners, then you just quickly draw diagonal lines to find your center point, okay? And now you have your design on your tracing paper, right? And what we want to do is repeat this design over and over again, okay? So I'm going to take this and on one of those diagonal lines, I'm going to line up the center of my pie slice right on that center point, and then make sure that my edge of my drawing is lined up with the diagonal line I drew. So it's really important that you guys take your time and make sure everything lines up right now. Okay, and then what you want to do is grab a little piece of tape to hold this down. I'm going to show you a really cool trick to transfer this. Okay, so now that you have your design on tracing paper, and you have it's half tracing paper, right, is filled up. So this way you only have to trace it twice onto your illustration board. You could skip this step and then just trace your original drawing, flip it over, trace it again, flip it over, trace it again, flip it over, trace it again, flip it over, trace it again. It's up to you if you want to do it that way. But you can also just take that second sheet of tracing paper, line it up, right, and trace it, and then flip it over, line it up, trace it, flip it over again. This way you're reflecting on the edge of the design, and you're getting the mirror image that you need, okay? If I didn't do this, this area would not line up. So we want to keep flipping. We want to alternate every time that we trace the design. Okay, so now I have my 60-degree pie slice drawn 3 times, making a 180-degree pie slice, or half the circle. So now what I can do is, I'm going to hold this diagonally because I have my center point line. So I want to line that up, the center of my circle, and then the edge of my tracing paper should be right on that pencil line that I drew when I did my half sheet here, okay? You definitely want to make sure that this doesn't move. So I'm going to get 2 pieces of Scotch tape, but before I do that, I'm going to stick it to my sweater so it's not as sticky, okay? Oops. So it won't damage the illustration board. I'm also going to try to keep that tape off to the edge. I don't want to put a piece of tape right here in the middle of my illustration board, okay? So again, I'm going to stick it on my sweater, pick up a little lint, make it a little less sticky. That way it removes a little bit easier. You can also use masking tape if you have it. All right, now we want to get our transfer sheet. This was that little piece of paper we made with tracing paper that we covered in graphite. What we're going to do now is unfold it and slide it underneath here, okay? And we're going to transfer our design. So you can use a pen for this. And you guys can see I used 3 different colored Sharpies so you could see what part I was transferring in which step. So I would say grab one of the RSVP pens that you guys have in your art kit to trace. This is a nice sharp point and it will transfer the lines quite nicely, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and just trace over the lines. Now what this is doing is pushing the graphite on my tracing paper onto my illustration board. You don't want to press too hard because if you do that, you're going to create indents in the illustration board. You just want to press hard enough. And if we flip that up, oh, look at that. It's transferring just fine. And I'm not really pressing that hard. Just sort of like light pen pressure, okay? And I'm going to just trace over all of the lines again. Okay, and you want to lift this up, hold this down before you do that, like put your hand down so this doesn't wiggle, and just lift up both sheets and make sure that they're transferring. You don't want to get through half of this and then be like, oops, it didn't transfer and I have to start all over again. I would also say if you have like a different color pen, it makes it easier so you can tell, like I should not have used a blue Sharpie if I was going to use a blue pen. So if you have different colors to help you figure out, you know, what you traced over already and what you didn't. And we're just going to keep going like that until you are all done tracing. Now when you get here, right, the transfer paper is not there. We're done up here, right? So then we can just slide it down, slide it over to make sure that the transfer sheet is under whatever part we are tracing. Okay, so I'm going to time lapse this and you can see what happens when I'm all done.